Why incorporate worship into our homes? Here's the primary reason: because it speaks the gospel into your family. The gospel of Jesus is made manifest. It is seen clearly when we worship him. So we can't be parents and youth leaders who proclaim the gospel of Jesus on a Sunday morning but don't live it out throughout the rest of the week, right? Kids are intuitive. If we're wanting to disciple young hearts, then by God's grace, we need to show the worship of our Creator, show them his grace through our worship. Worship should be ingrained in our existence. It shouldn't be something that we just go to do on a Sunday morning. So how do we incorporate it? Specifically into our homes with our kids. Well, remember that worship is not limited to singing. Okay, I'll talk a lot today about singing, but it's not limited to singing, right? Worship includes a number of different aspects. So I'm going to focus on just a few of them: prayer and liturgy, scripture reading, and singing. So you're speaking the gospel into your child's life every time you make an effort to do any of those forms of worship. So I want you to think of your Sunday morning worship service as kind of a practice for the rest of your week. So what you see incorporated in worship in the sanctuary on a Sunday morning should be seen in our homes throughout the week. That's key. So how do we incorporate these various aspects? Let me just talk briefly about each one. Prayer and liturgy. How do we incorporate this into our home? When I was in elementary school, I remember asking a friend of mine if she wanted to come over and play after church. And I will never forget, she sat there and she kind of thought about it for a minute, and then she turned to me and she said, "How long does your dad pray before lunch?" And you know, as an adult now, it's a legitimate question. Like, she's hungry. We just been in church for the whole morning. I just want to make sure, can we get home and get to the food? Or is your dad going to pray for a half an hour? I don't know how long my dad prayed. I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I saw him on his knees. I saw him weekly on his knees. Praying for the worship services. He prayed every night at the dinner table, and as we got older, he would incorporate us into his ministry through prayer. It was one of the most important ways as a minister's kid that it wasn't my dad versus the church, right? It wasn't I had to choose. He brought us into it, and one of the ways that he brought us in was by praying with us and by asking us to pray for some of the things that were going on that he could talk about inside of the church. That meant something to us. We'd pray for missionaries together that he'd heard about. He'd tell us the stories and ask us to pray.